Well, hello guys, and welcome to a very special, if somewhat unusual, fragrance video. Not just any fragrance video, a tag, an obligation, a curse if you will. One that sees me confess to the 7 deadly sins. Now if you made it this far, don't go anywhere, don't run away. After all, these are my 7 deadly sins, my capital vices, my fragrance habits that have given rise to immoralities. Of course, if anyone watching feels in any way obligated to confess their sins, please consider yourself tagged. Now on this table we have 7 fragrances, each one a symbol and representing one of the 7 deadly sins. Though currently shrouded and hidden, each will be revealed. So, my first sin to reveal to you all will be lust. Lust, the strong, passionate longing, especially for sexual desires. Now for lust, I have chosen Oud Satin Mood. Yep, this one is definitely my femme fatale of all my fragrances. It's a deep, dark, gothic rose with sweetness and oud and that beautiful violet note. I'm not going to dwell here on words like sensual and sexy because it makes me cringe. But all I will say is this is the one I will wear when I go out in the evening. It puts me in a certain kind of deep, dark, mysterious kind of mood. It's the perfect blend of notes to create something dark and romantic. It's very much like having silk on your skin, maybe even velvet. The oud and the violet really give it that really mysterious, deep edge, but the rose is so velvety and beautiful. I think not only is this the scent that invokes the sin of lust for me wearing this, I think it would also lure me to that person that's wearing it, like a love potion. Oud Satin Mood represents the sin of lust. The next sin is envy, the intense desire to have an item that someone else possesses. And the fragrance I've chosen to represent envy is Keep Glazed by the House of Oud. So why does it represent envy? It's right here, it's in my hand, I have it. Why am I envious? It's not my fragrance, I don't get to keep it, I don't get to spray it, I get to hold it with jealousy and look upon it with the green eyes of envy. But this fragrance has actually been lent to me by a very, very dear and very sweet Kim. She only received this yesterday. This is brand new, so I'm super grateful to her for allowing me to borrow it for this video. This beautiful presentation, this is what you'll see at the House of Oud. All the fragrances have this beautiful egg-shaped bottle. Actually, the bottle itself sits upside down, so what you do is the lid ends up being the base, so it's like that. And it's actually thinner. I expect it to be a proper fat domed egg, so when you do get to actually put it in your hand and see it for the first time, it's quite surprising how thin it is. But this is a 75ml bottle. Obviously there's plenty of room to hold all that liquid. And the scent, I believe, was inspired by a pastry chef, I could be wrong. Super delicious gourmand fragrance. It's got some very delicious notes in here. We've got mango, whipped cream, there's some fruity notes, we have strawberry leaf, there's ginger. Super delicious sweet fragrance. To me, actually, Kim was wearing it today. There was this beautiful trail of caramel and pastries and maybe a hint of mango. I've briefly tried this one out and worn it. The opening of this is actually quite different to the dry down, and the opening of this reminded me of a sucked boiled sweet. It was like watery, sort of a bit synthetic, and I didn't like this at first, but as it dried down, my goodness, I got this most beautiful whipped cream with ginger, just a delicious mango and whipped cream pastry, very caramelly kind of fragrance. I tried about a handful from the House of Oud, and this one is definitely my favourite, and that is Keep Glazed, fragrance to symbolise envy. So let's move on to Sloth. Sloth, an excessive laziness or failure to act and utilise one's talents. We're going over here. The fragrance to represent sloth is in fact Queer Beluga. Stunning fragrance from Guerlain. It is dreamy, it's so smooth, it is absolutely divine. It has notes of tangerine, aldehydes, patchouli, amber. There is vanilla and also immortelle. I think there's also heliotrope in here as well. So why does it represent sloth? Getting the negative point out of the way first. It performs rather lazily on me. Sometimes I can smell it, sometimes I can't. It plays hide and seek, this one. Despite enjoying my sample very much, when I finally decided to acquire this fragrance, the first day I sprayed it, I couldn't smell a thing. It seemed to float away and disappear. I couldn't smell anything. Throughout that day, I received so many compliments. At every point in the day where I stopped just to read something, just to reflect on something, just to talk, it was there. I have to stop, be still, and I will do that for Queer Beluga. All those notes I mentioned don't really tell you what this scent is going to be like. Imagine the most delicate touch of suede. So feather-like, so delicate and beautiful that it's almost like liquid. The suede is like liquid. And then you have this, the most finely milled marshmallow powder. Fluffy, weightless marshmallow powder. So beautifully blended that it almost gives you this slight hint of Play-Doh, just slightly. Beautifully enveloping. Makes me want to just close my eyes, lay down and drift away. I literally have to be lazy to wear this. There's a film that I love called There's No Business Like Show Business, and it stars the amazing Donald O'Connor and of course Marilyn Monroe. Now Marilyn Monroe sings a musical number in that film called Lazy. White blonde ringlet, she's got this black outfit on with this giant blue bow around her waist. And she represents this spoilt lady who just doesn't want to do anything, and it's just a little musical number and it's really cute and she sings it so beautifully. Every time I smell this fragrance, I kind of just want to sing that song. So yeah, that is Queer Beluga. This is my fragrance for being lazy. It's the fragrance for sloth and it's utterly divine. So Queer Beluga. I don't know about you guys, but all this talk of mango pastries and whipped cream and then being lazy is making me feel pretty damn hungry. So I think it's time to move on to the next sin, gluttony. The excessive and ongoing eating of food and drink. I think we've all been there. The fragrance representing gluttony is in fact Roses Vanille. Roses Vanille by the House of Mancera. Now, Roses Vanille is, of course, a gourmand, and a gourmand is, of course, a fragrance that makes you think of food or drink. Now, I've got a few gourmands in my collection, and the others maybe smell even more authentically foodie. But something about this one really takes the biscuit. Notes of sugar, roses, musk, vanilla, cedar, sugar, and more sugar. This is teeth-achingly sweet, but it is addictively sweet. It's a very synthetic style fragrance. Like many ridiculously guilty, indulgent sort of foods, you get those E numbers that just enhance all the sugars and make you go off the walls. This is what this does. The synthetics in here may as well be E numbers and flavourings. When I smell this, I just want to scoff down a whole Victoria sponge with jam or eat donuts with jam. I've compared this to being a jammy dodger. It does smell like a jammy dodger. It's so biscuity and jammy, quite warming and comforting as foods often are. It's an absolute beast, this one. It really projects. I never get put off by it. I never find it too much to wear. And a bit like sugary foods, I don't get too put off by how much sugar there is. It is the fragrance that symbolises gluttony. So that is Roses Vanille by Mancera. That's a lot of sin. That's a lot of fragrance. So I think the next sin we need to talk about here is greed. An excessive pursuit of material goods. And I have a fragrance that symbolises exactly that. So this large one that was at the back represents greed, and it is in fact Black Phantom by Kilian. I know the souls that long for this, but it just makes me want it even more. So of course Black Phantom comes in this absolutely exquisite presentation, beautifully designed in the Kilian symbology, which you find on the bottle as well. It has this beautiful glossy black skull, a coffet, is that what it's called? Proper working key. And lo and behold, hidden within, we have the fragrance. Now the presentation in its entirety is part of the reason that I really wanted this fragrance, aside from obviously enjoying the scent itself. But this is classed as a gourmand. It is a very delicious gourmand. Again, it has that beautiful marking on the bottle. I bought it on the basis of being more of a collector, probably a bit of a game changer for me. Black Phantom, as I say, is a gourmand. It's a very delicious gourmand, but it isn't my favourite fragrance. And for the amount of money this cost, it had to be a very good reason as to why I would have purchased it. So Black Phantom has notes of rum, sugar, chocolate, coffee, caramel, almond, heliotrope and sandalwood. It is rich, it's resinous, it's very warming. To me, it smells like hot melting caramel. There's a lot of coffee in here. You also get that lovely rum note. You do get that almond as well. Every time I smell this, I smell something slightly different. And I think one of the reasons why it's not my favourite is there's a very hard edge to this fragrance. Perhaps not as smooth as I'd like it to be. It's as though the sugar content in here is that Demerara sugar and it hasn't been melted properly and it's slightly gritty, rough around the edges, but a beautiful one anyway. But like I say, I'm blinded by the presentation. I love things that are dark, deep, edgy and gothic. It kind of makes me want it more. It makes me very greedy to hold on to it when I look at it and just, you know, play with the box and all that kind of thing. So Black Phantom in its entirety, for me, symbolises the sin of greed. Now for the sixth sin, there is one that I feel I'm most guilty of, and that sin is wrath. A strong anger and hate towards another person. Although my hate and wrath isn't necessarily towards a person, it's normally towards an action or an event. I may have been known to get a little hot-headed and see red at times. Sin of wrath, I have chosen Black Rain by Renier. This fragrance is one of my favourites in my whole collection. I'll definitely place it in my top 5 for sure. It seems to just work for me. It just seems to suit me. Notes of cedar, rose, chamomile, violet leaf, violet, leather and ambergris. The way Black Rain performs and smells very much connects me to how I react in situations and moments when perhaps I feel challenged or, you know, pressured in some way. I mean, you know the kind of thing, you know, if someone cuts you up when you're driving, someone jumps in the queue before you, someone steals your space in a car park, bad manners, littering, if someone's beating you at Monopoly, or just when you see a genuine injustice, I will react how this fragrance performs. This fragrance opens up sharp, abrasive and aggressive. A fresh, bright, sharp leather, really invigorating chamomile, very strong, slightly abrasive violet leaf. It really slaps you in the face. It's like having a burst of adrenaline. And when that sharp, upfront opening character does start to sort of stand aside, it kind of draws back like curtains and reveals this beautiful heart of violet and rose. A floral heart that acknowledges its sharp, abrasive opening, a softer focus with a bit more clarity, but they don't let go of the strength and the passion that was driving it in the beginning. And when the scent has completely settled down, you get this calm reassurance in the form of ambergris. It has so much development, it has such a story. So that is my choice for Wrath, and that is Black Rain by Renier. And so we move on to our 7th and final sin, pride. Excessive view of oneself without regard for others. I mean, how much of a sin is that, honestly? Pride could just be acknowledgement of one's accomplishments. If you take out conceitedness and arrogance, I don't think pride is the worst sin. So the fragrance I have chosen to represent pride. Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait. I was so proud to get this fragrance. It was at the top of my wish list for so long. A combination of both a discount and some birthday vouchers. I went for it. So Baccarat Rouge, the eau de parfum, has been the talk of the town, I think, for the last, how many years? 2-3 years now? It's the extrait that I fell in love with. The extrait that I think is the more refined, sophisticated and polished than its popular sibling. So it has notes of bitter almond, saffron, jasmine, ambergris, musk and cedar. And it is a sexy, sweet and sour, woody oriental. So like the Parfum, it has that burnt sugar candy floss scent. The extrait has so much more refinement. It's tamed down and more blended. The saffron gives it a lovely sort of spiciness. That bitter almond gives it a kind of powdery nuttiness. And of course you've got the ambergris and cedar providing the most addictive, rich base. Although it is more refined and more polished than the Parfum, it's still a big personality. It's confident, it's sexy, it's self-assured. Love its sweet and spicy, addictive personality. Love that it's as spicy as it is sweet. And with regard to pride, you want an excessive view of oneself without regard for others, or let's say the need for other people's opinions. This is the one to do it. So making no apology whatsoever and coming in bold, red, rich, completely majestic here, we have Maison Francis Cœur Jaune, Baccarat Rouge 540, Extrait de Parfum, the fragrance for me that represents pride. I've been weighed, I've been measured, I have been found wanting. I have been found guilty of possessing the 7 deadly sins. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please do feel free to participate, have fun with it. It's of course all for fun and not to be taken too seriously. Of course, myself and the other souls you bore witness to at the beginning of the video all decided to get together and have fun and just do this fantastic tag idea. Because it was the amazing Smurfy girlie, Claire herself, who decided to get us all together. Say thank you, Claire, for starting this amazing tag. It's been so much fun. None of us know what the other has done. We've all filmed in secret. We've shared nothing other than that it's the same theme. Can't wait to see everyone's videos and see the fragrances they've chosen and what sins they get most animated about. But I know every single video is going to be absolutely amazing. They're all amazing people, amazing reviewers, and utterly amazing fragrance friends. So head on over to everybody's videos and I leave you there. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you on the next one.